Okie dokie.
Let me have my moment.
I am. I said okie dokie.
Let me toot my own horn.
All right. Welcome to the INTJ and Cat Show. I'm your host, INTJ, and this is my co-host, Cat.
Meow. Meow, 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 meow. What if I meowed the whole podcast?
Oh, God. I'm already regretting our life choices.
What are you drinking?
Want
to share?
This is Naked.
You're naked?
It's Naked. It's Blue Machine. It's got 270 calories. And it's a blend of 4 juices, partially from concentrate with added ingredients and other natural flavors. It's a dietary supplement for me because I'm trying to gain weight.
And I'm trying to stay the same weight. Yeah. I'm ENFP, if you couldn't tell. Choose, which one do you think is the ENFP here? Take your pick. 50-50 chance. Could be right.
No, I think you can even tell by watching us in the playback. You have just a lot more movement in general.
Which is funny because you have ADHD.
Well, rumor has it you might be coming around to that too.
I might, but also just an ENFP.
Yeah. But the movement that I have is going to be a little bit more subtle. So it'll be like a tap of my fingers or like a wiggle of my foot where you're like...
adjusting positions. Yeah. Well, I actually do want to talk about personality. ADHD is such a hot topic right now, so it would be interesting to talk about personality and ADHD and how they...
Oh, yeah. I downloaded...
how they kiss each other.
And I forgot. I'm so embarrassed. No, I'm not really. But I downloaded a copy of the DSM-5 so that we could look up,
did.
like, things like ADHD or anything. And I was going to have my computer on standby in case we wanted to look up any of that stuff.
Okay.
But my computer isn't here.
Well, it's fine because that will be for that episode,
Yeah.
and it's perfect.
So,
I'm ENFP. I'm certified practitioner with the Myers-Briggs Foundation. And this is INTJ. She's not certified, but she just really loves Myers-Briggs.
I like patterns.
You can do anything you set your mind to. Speaking of positivity, let me turn my phone off.
My face, oh my goodness, when you said positivity.
What was it?
It got cranky. I felt it. Like, look,
Typical.
Look, you said positivity.
Oh, that's gold. Typical. No, I was going to say, speaking of positivity, we have a topic, okay? We have a topic, and we're going to stick to it. So, what I wanted to talk about today, kind of a more simple topic, maybe not fun. Well, I think it's fun. Why do I keep doing this? Should I just do this for everything I say? Everything I say.
It's not the truth.
It's the truth.
I don't think you know what this means.
Budget. Well, actually, you know what is funny? My grandma would do that a lot when he was growing up. That's how she would, like, she would do air quotes. She's an ISFJ. Is that an ISFJ thing?
I have noticed that ISFJs need to let you know the context of, like, the larger context of what they're saying. Like, hey, this is going to be a serious conversation. Or, hey, this is a joke. So I wonder if this is also helping you, like, you as an observer, contextualize.
It could be. I don't actually think all ISFJs are going around doing this. I think that was a weird quirk my grandma
broad
had.
Stereotype.
But it could maybe be personality related. Because I think ISFJs don't, I mean, it's in the name. They don't have a strong intuition. They prefer using sensing, right? And I think they typically, it's probably the SI in particular in the way that functions, but they're so sensing that they kind of need help being set up for what's happening, so they just are going to do that for other people. I don't know if that makes sense. Intuitive people are going to be able to pick up on it easier.
I had an interaction a couple days ago. I was talking to, or I wasn't directly talking to, but I was in a group setting, and there was an individual who I believe is an ISFJ, and they were trying to play, but it wasn't that I wasn't in a playful mood. Mm-hmm. It was that it was really busy, so we were at work, and so my side was really busy, their side wasn't as busy, so they were trying to play, and I wasn't playing back. I was, like, giving relatively short, like, responses, because I was trying to take care of my responsibilities.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, And they're like, are you mad at me? And I'm like, I'm not mad at you. I'm just not paying attention to you. Like, I'm paying, like, but to be able to pick up the cue of, like, oh, something else is going on, because she couldn't see all the things that I was seeing because she was on the other side of the room.
But I will say something to that. While, yes, I do think that has to do with her being ISFJ, I think just you being an INTJ, even other intuitive types are just kind of scared of you. I think a lot of people, regardless of personality, I think personality plays a factor for sure, but a lot of people, even if they're good at picking up on other people's moods, I think you have an aura that is very like
That is
scares
also
people.
true. We have the
Doesn't scare me for some reason.
There's a super old meme, and you'll find it. You'll show them, or you won't.
Okay.
Up to you.
I'll try to remember.
But it's that base.
It was so funny. Sorry, it was just so funny when I'm editing these videos and just watching my facial expressions. I don't realize how much I use facial expressions.
It's this gloomy, like, photo of like a rundown kind of castle type thing with like a moat, and it's all black and white and like storm clouds.
Okay.
And it's like everybody else with the INTJ, and then it's a bounce castle that's all colors, and it's like ENFP without you remember that
I do
one?
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Okay. Well, actually, this is good because this is getting into what I wanted to talk about, which we're gonna do more specifics, but basically kind of just the basic differences between each other. And in this case specifically, the differences in how we view people. People.
Oh, that's good. People.
Thank you. So, because this is why this came up. The other day, for some reason, this person from the past came up, someone that we both knew. And I finally kind of had an epiphany, an ENFP epiphany. An ENFP epiphany.
An ENF epiphany.
An epiphany. An ENF epiphany. And
I'm just going to imagine you trying to cut that. Like, an epiphany. An epiphany. ENF epiphany.
But anyway, I had an ENF epiphany, and I was like, oh, I don't like that person. And that was a big deal for me to say, because I like everybody. I always have. I typically just like everybody. Now, some, of course, I like more than others. Some I love, and some, like, not as much, but I still like them.
Yeah, I think for you, like, if this whole sofa was like a scale, like is on this side and dislike is on this side,
yeah,
and neutral is right here, you don't have this side of the scale. You meet someone and you're like, where do they fall on this side of the scale? Where I do have the entire scale, and when I immediately meet someone, they fall right in the middle, and then they can determine where they go by our interactions and stuff like that.
And you tend, I think, to decide that pretty quickly. Typically. There may be cases where it's a slow burn, takes you a while, but typically you're able to gauge, you're falling more this way or this way.
Yeah, I think...
and then over time that can grow.
Like, I meet you, you fall neutral, and I think it's the intuition that, like, there's something in me that... What?
It is. But my mom also...
well, that's where I was going to
go.
Yes,
get to that.
There's something in me that's going to give, like, an immediate reading on you. And then, depending on the next function, so for me, it's extroverted thinking, and for your mom, it's extroverted feeling.
Yes.
It's going to help dictate the judgment on, like, how do we feel about, or what judgment are we making off of this information that we've gleaned.
Right.
And so maybe we glean the same information, and someone who is an extroverted feeler, like, they're more hopeful for the other person, almost. Yeah. Like, they want the other person to have a really good experience. And for extroverted thinking, it's more like, let me categorize all of this information I have. And I'm not really thinking about you now.
Yeah, you're just able to be more objective and logical.
Yeah.
For clarification, my mom is an INFJ, by the way, if you didn't pick that up.
You probably will never see one in the wild.
Ever. She is one of the real INFJs out there, not the ones that say they are.
Not an ENFJ.
She is a real INFJ. And I think that is a good point because she and I both tend to be more optimistic about people. Now, I do think INFJs can be pessimistic, but that's its own conversation. When it comes to people, she tends to want to see the best. And that is very much the same for me. But yeah, so back to what we were saying. Point is in all of this, where we started, I realized...
You don't like someone.
I don't like this person. And I noticed this is this is a pattern for me, as probably because I'm an ENFP. It takes me a long time to realize I don't like someone. because I just don't want to admit that to myself, and I don't want to accept that I just don't like someone. Because my nature is to see the best in everyone, and I want to like everyone, and typically I do like most people. And so it literally took me years of knowing this person and interacting with them for me to finally be like, why don't I like being around them? Why do I avoid them whenever they show up? Why don't I, want to reach out to them and talk to them? Why do I cringe when they reach out to me? Oh, I don't like them.
Yeah.
And then realizing, oh, Siobhan, that's okay. Siobhan, you don't have to like everybody.
I think, like, also, I mean, we've known this individual for 4 or 5 years probably.
Yeah.
I knew in the first year that Siobhan didn't like them.
Yeah, everyone will know I don't like someone before I know it.
Yeah. It's kind of the same way if she likes someone, too. Like, if she has a crush on someone, we all figure it out first, too.
Yeah, usually.
But that's true to everyone. That's not, like, an ENFP
Right.
specific thing. But the not liking things.
But this is what I was thinking, the difference between us. Because I rarely dislike someone. My list of people I actively dislike is very small. I usually like everyone I meet. With you, correct me if I'm wrong, your list of people you really like is probably not super long.
It's not super long. The list of people that I really like is not super long. The list of people I dislike is not super long. The list of people who don't trigger enough for me to decide whether or not I like you or dislike you is the vast majority of people.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
really, it's hurt people before because, like, a lot of people, especially, I think it's an F thing.
The more
but
sensitive types.
They're a little bit more sensitive. But the way that they interpret their entire world is much more similar to Siobhan's, which is like, I meet you and I'm triggered in a way, like, not the way we use the word triggered, but something's triggered in me to decide I like you and where you fall on the liking. And for me, there's nothing triggered in me that I feel it's not even an obligation, but I don't feel a need to decide whether or not I like you or not.
Yeah.
And so I'll leave you in no man's land of neutrality and treat you like,
oh no,
I'll be polite, but I'm not gonna be like super warm and super fun. And then, but people, no one's stupid. Well, someone is stupid, I'm sure, but they're not stupid. So they're like, she's polite, but she doesn't like me because probably you're the individual you don't like. You're probably polite too.
Yeah.
And so that's the same way that I would interact with someone that I'm neutral to.
Right.
Because someone that I dislike, I'm cold with.
And I couldn't bear to do that. I think I can only think of one person that I would actively be cold to, and it's because they're genuinely, like, not a good person that has hurt people close to me. I don't trust them. I actually see them as, like, a really bad person, and that's one person in my life.
Yeah.
But I wanted to touch on that you were talking about, because some of it has to do with, I was thinking about capacity for people. I think it could just be extroverted versus introverted, but
dun, dun, dun.
it could also be ENFP versus INTJ. I don't know for sure, but my capacity for people seems to be much larger. So yes, I have my close circle of friends, and that's what I want. I want a close circle of friends, but I can have a wide array of acquaintances that I would consider friends as well. I don't know if that's the same for you.
Yeah, I think like I'm okay calling someone a friend, right? Even if they're just an acquaintance.
Yeah.
Although I will actively accidentally clarify myself when I'm like, oh, they're a friend. Well, no, not really. But it is also like true. Like if we go to the zoo.
I love the zoo.
We'll be there soon, I'm sure. But if we go to the zoo, that's going to be her all day. She's going to have a great time.
If I have enough coffee.
She's going to have a great time. She's going to be bouncing off the walls of the zoo. She's going to be interviewing the elephants. And then we'll go home. And, you'll probably crash at home. But not because you're emotionally or mentally, drained.
I just have chronic fatigue.
Because we were at the zoo for 12 hours.
Yeah.
If we go to the zoo, I'll go to the zoo. I'll have a really good time. I probably won't interview the elephants. But there will be a point, sometimes 2 points, through the day that I almost need a timeout.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, hey, let's go to the diner and sit down and we'll get food. It's not very good because
it's nap
food.
time.
Or take a nap. Not nap. But there was when we went to the San Diego Zoo and Safari Park, there was a point where we
great
paused
zoo, by the way. Great zoo. 10
It
out
was
of 10.
almost a full nap time. Like, we just sat there and I looked at the map and you yapped and I didn't pay much attention to you. And then after about an hour, we were able to go again. And I could have like kept pressing through and like done the entire zoo, but I would have been crankier and crankier as the day went on. So like having a pause gives like a reset to be able to recharge my capacity, like my emotional and mental state a little bit. And so then we'll get home at the end of the day and physically I'll feel okay. I mean, I'll be a little bit tired because we've been at the zoo all the day, but I'm not going to crash because I have chronic fatigue or I'm sleepy. I'm going to...
You're EP.
Yeah, I'm going to crash because I just need to be by myself a little bit.
So I think what we've learned here today is that INTJs are just old men. In fact, probably all introverted people are just kind of old people. They just need their nap time.
Yeah, and I think like we can get into a diatribe or a rant about introversion versus extroversion and how there's a problem. See, I can feel it in me.
INTJ rant, commence.
All right. There's a problem with different personality types and subtypes because within Myers-Briggs, introverted and extroverted means one thing. But within the big five, introverted and extroverted means another thing. Mm-hmm. But then if you go to like another thing, another personality profile, it's going to mean another thing. And so nobody really knows what introverted or extroverted means. We're all walking around with our own definitions. And then people get really like butthurt because it's like, oh, hey, you actually don't seem super introverted to me. And you're going to be like, yes, I am. I need to be by myself at least once a day. And I'm like, yeah, everybody takes a shower. Or people are like, oh, but you don't know what I'm like when I'm alone. And I'm like, yes, that is the definition. What are you going to do when you're alone? You're going to be alone. Or like, you haven't seen me around people. I'm like, I am a person and I'm around you. And you're...
Yes. Can I join the rant for a second? Because when I am talking to someone where we have a mutual friend or we both have interacted with someone, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll tell them I'm pretty sure, and it's usually because they ask. I don't just tell them this. Usually they ask and I'll be like, yeah, I'm feeling like ENTP, for example, or something, right? I'm feeling ENTP, like that's what I'm pretty sure they're ENTP. Well, the person might say, oh, but you don't see them in this environment, or you've only interacted with them like this. Or it even happens if I'm just talking to a person. I'm like, oh yeah, they'll ask me what I think their type is. And I'll be like, I think you're this. And they're like, no, like that's because you only see me here and here. And I'm like, okay, unless you are a psychopath, you're not going to change that dramatically from setting to setting. Now, obviously, there is a level of some people need to be a little more extroverted at work or maybe a little bit whatever. There can be a little bit of that. But because maybe I'm bragging. I just feel like I've been doing it so long, I'm able to pick up on, okay, even though you're acting a little extroverted, I can still tell you're an ISFJ or something, whatever.
Yeah, I think like... So
that's different than like, oh no, you think I'm an ENTP, but I'm actually an ISTJ because you don't see me in these other settings. I'm like, are you a psychopath?
Yeah. Social psychology talks about how you'll put on different versions of yourself for different places. Yeah. All of these different like versions of yourself that you're going to put on for different scenarios. And if you're at a funeral, God help me, I hope you won't show up like this, in a purple wig, ready to go.
Can't spell funeral without fun.
You might be a little bit more subdued. Those are all like authentic versions of yourself that are being expressed in different ways because of the environment that you're in.
Yeah.
So an authentic version of myself, I'm very authentic, sitting in my room, reading Dostoevsky, not interacting with anyone. I don't feel any less authentic going to work, directing a group of people, having to put my energy out. Yeah. That's also an authentic version of myself. But if you took a snapshot of me in my room and you took a snapshot of me at work, you might say like, oh, those are different people. Different people.
Yeah.
Different.
But I also think most people know common sense.
But what Siobhan can do is she's looking for the subtleties.
Yes. Well, in a way, the subtleties, but I think when like me as an example, I grew up raised on Myers-Briggs, and then I became certified when I was like 20, right? It is the air I breathe. And so I can't help but not see the world through it, to be fair. But because I know it so well, I know it by the function stacks, not by the letters.
That's the problem, is I'm
picking up on cognitive functions happening, not the letters individually. Yeah. A lot of people with the Myers-Briggs get very stuck on the individual letters, and it can be really hard to break them out of that and help them understand the bigger picture of what's happening underneath with the cognitive functions.
Well, and it doesn't help You're back off the rant. I'm back on.
Okay.
It doesn't help that there are multiple tests online that all say they're Myers-Briggs personality tests and use the same letters, but are actually testing something different. So you could get on to 16 personalities.
Cough, cough, 16 personalities. I was about to do that.
Then you're going to take a test, and it's going to spit out It's going to spit out whatever letters and explain what the letters mean, not explain the cognitive functions. But you can get onto like Myers-Briggs Foundation, and it's going to break it down in cognitive functions. And there's everything in between. And then people like slap titles on top of titles. So it's like, you're an ENFP. That means you're the champion. And then people are like, I'm a champion. And like, what?
Yeah.
Bottom line is, oh man, okay, rant.
Okay, side rant B.
Rant B. No test that's administered that you're taking about personality, and it doesn't matter if you're taking the Big Five, if you're taking that one with the disc, if you're taking Myers-Briggs, it doesn't matter what test you're taking, you're going to be answering questions from a cognitive side because you're reading a question. As soon as you activate the cognitive, you've taken out the behavioral or the emotional side of things. The problem is we can only observe behaviors. So when Carl Jung did the original function tests, he was working off of behaviors that he could observe. He wasn't working off of the cognitive, like, what are you thinking as you're doing this behavior? He wasn't working off of what are you feeling as you do this behavior. It was behaviors. So you're taking a test and you're thinking about it. You're not actually activating your behaviors, so it's not a true reflection of who you really are. It's the how you're filtering yourself and how you think about yourself. So even a test that you take isn't going to be a fair representation of the behaviors that you're doing.
Right. Which is why it's important to also get other people's opinions, people who know you well, people that observe you frequently, to help you determine what your type is. Because when I got certified during the workshop, they were explaining the difference between, I think we've talked about this in the earlier episodes we did years ago, but they talk about your, what was their words for it? It was the type you were given by a test had a specific word for it, and then the type that you picked for yourself, basically. So they encourage, the Myers-Briggs Foundation, when I did the workshop, they really encouraged, the test is great. Obviously, it's great, but it can be a good starting point. And of course, they're talking about the real Myers-Briggs type indicator, not
16 personalities.
The free versions online, although those can be fine and fun. That type that the type that the test spits out at you can be a good starting point. It's awesome if it's accurate, cool, but they encourage you to go read some other personality types and kind of read and research on your own to figure out if that really is the best fit for you. I think it's a best fit type is what they call the type that you actually decide is the best fit.
Yeah, because you'll often test is, if you were to take a test,
yeah,
you would likely, if you were to take it, like, because we're at the point now we can game the tests. Like, I know what answer is going to give me what thing.
And that's part of its flaw, isn't it?
Yeah. But if you were to take the test, like, genuinely without trying to game it, it would probably spit out INFP.
It pretty much always spits out INFP when I do it. And I think that's a universal ENFP experience. Mm-hmm. A lot of ENFPs will do the test and it tells them they're an INFP. And I would encourage you, if you think you are an INFP, but you're like, sometimes I feel extroverted, but sometimes I feel introverted, you might be an ENFP because ENFPs by nature are already pretty introverted in terms of extroversion. Like, they're kind of more in the middle of the extroversion.
Yeah.
Another way to say it is, of the extroverted types, ENFPs tend to be the most introverted.
And of the introverted types, INTJs are the second most introverted.
Yeah, INFJs and INTJs are some of the most introverted of.
Yeah, which is why it's hard to find them in the wild.
Yeah, I don't know how I found her.
I moved into your house.
A lot of my close friends have been INTJs. I always feel very lucky when I find them.
Well, and not to toot my own horn, but there's also a rare...
Toot your own horn. Go ahead and toot your own horn. Toot it.
Toot.
Toot, toot. Toot that horn. Sorry, toot the horn. Go ahead.
There's a certain amount of, like, rarity in finding an INTJ female.
True.
And so even that, and I don't want to say an equal amount of rarity, but it's pretty hard to find an ENFP male.
Hold on, Oreo break. Do you want one?
Sure.
Sorry, I was getting restless.
so
Those Oreos were looking at me.
even within that is like if you're trying to find your type and you're like, man, I
don't want to get my chewing. I know chewing annoys people. So.
cheers.
Stop! You're gonna scare them. Keep tooting your horn.
No, I was not. The toot was the rarity, but the thing that I was going to say to the people, to our mass audience, is let's say you're male, or that you identify like more male, mannish, masculine. But you take a test and it says like, oh, you're probably like an ENTP, and you're like, I don't know if that feels right, because of how society goes. Like, we tend to attribute more thinking functions toward men and more feeling functions towards women. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, women are feelers. They're emotional. Men are like, they don't have any emotion. They're pragmatic. They're fixers.
Right.
And maybe overall in society, like we can see those trends, but just because it's a trend doesn't mean it's a universal truism. So if you're finding like that you're taking a test and like you're identifying like maybe a little bit differently, that's why it's important to read about it and not to feel like super bogged down by, it's okay to be an ENFP man. It's okay to be like a woman that has tea in their type.
Yeah.
It's okay to drink tea.
It's also, guys, it's okay to not be an INFJ. It's okay if you're not an INFJ, all right? We can't all be INFJs. You can still be cool and fun and awesome if you're not an INFJ. Okay? Just putting that out there. You're still special. Just throwing that out there.
So one of our major differences as an ENFP and an INTJ is how we respond to like interacting with people. Another is like how we respond to like our capacity to do new things and to be in the world. I think that like another that we can maybe touch on, and I don't know if it's true to all ENFPs and INTJs or if it's true like kind of to the smaller you and me experience, is like you're more likely to want to go have a new experience. I'm less likely to want to do that, but I'm willing to go along with you. And then we'll get to the new experience. And you're more likely for your emotions to catch up and to get spooked. And I'm more likely to be like, well, we've already made it here. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
And I think it's like you're being led by NE, and then my TE takes the wheel, and it's like, no, we're doing it. We already committed this much. It doesn't make sense not to do it.
Yeah.
But we have had situations, I'm thinking, like, when we went to Charleston, we climbed the bell tower of a church, and you got spooked halfway through when your emotions finally caught up.
Yes, okay, let me tell this story. This is a good example. It's kind of a silly example, but this is what happens. I am at an old church building with Miss INTJ here and her brother, who is also an INTJ.
There's two of us.
There are two of them. And there were these ladders that bring you all the way up to the bell tower. And so my NE tells me, yes, let's do it. That sounds fun. So I climb all the way up, and I didn't.
You climbed to about the third floor.
Yeah, and then I looked down, and it hit me that I just climbed up really high. And my FI caught up with me and was like, I didn't think this through, number one, and also, this is scary, and heights are scary. I can't do this. And so then I started crying. I did eventually get down, but they had to help me like slowly get down the ladder because I was terrified.
Yeah, and that we were, there's two of us, but we were really stable. Like, hey, you're okay. You have one step down. It's all right. Tim's at the bottom. I'm at the top. We're going to talk you through. Nothing's going to go wrong. It took us 3 minutes to go up and an hour to go down.
Now, granted, I do have more of an anxious disposition. Not all ENFPs are going to be as anxious as I am, probably. But the sentiment still stands of, my NE wants to do all these fun things, and so I'll say, yes, let's go do that. And then I didn't take the time to actually think, how does this make me feel? Does this align with what I actually like doing and want to do? And then sometimes I'll end up there doing it, and I'm like, oh, I actually don't want to do this.
Another excellent example of this, oh, it's so funny. This is, okay, ENFP prime with a little bit of a mental break happening.
Typical Tuesday.
INTJ solid.
Typical Tuesday.
Typical Tuesday. We went to Seattle. It was wonderful. It was so much fun. We looked at all the things. While we were in Seattle, because Siobhan's an ENFP and because she's always interacting with people, she had made some friends online. that she'd just been chatting with, and that one of them happened to also be in the Seattle area.
Yeah.
And it was like, great, if you want to come, we can meet up. And
I didn't know him in real life.
Yeah, didn't know him in real life.
But we've been chatting.
We were all in the Seattle area. That the message that was communicated, we were all in the Seattle area. And if he wanted to come meet up, then there was the opportunity to do that. The battery is very low.
Oh, hold on. Let me change the battery, guys. Okay, so
yeah, all in the Seattle area. And yeah, that makes sense. That's a normal thing that normal people do.
Is it?
Well, like if you meet someone or if you know about someone and you're all in the same area, like, hey, let's meet up for like coffee or whatever. And that was the original kind of what was proposed. Except he actually wasn't truly in the Seattle area.
Well, no, okay, no, let me explain. This is what happened. I was going through a phase. This was many years ago. How many years ago now was all of this? 5 years?
Maybe?
It was about 5 years ago, okay, and I was going through a phase where I just was talking to a lot of random people online. Why? I don't know. I like people. I want to make friends. So I was talking to this guy, and he's probably around my age, and he seemed really fun.
Yeah. We looked at his social media. And
he seemed very fun. That's how he presented himself. And so we would talk and have fun talking. Well, turns out he lives in the Seattle area, and we were going to be up there. We went and stayed the night.
That's the entire story I just told.
I know, but what I'm saying now, catching up,
okay,
is, well, also adding the fact that he presented himself to be very fun, because that's going to be important detail.
Yes.
We were actually staying at a place in Tacoma, and that is about, don't quote me on this, it's an hour at most south of Seattle, probably not a full hour. But
that is fair. We were in Tacoma.
Yeah.
But he also wasn't truly in Seattle. He was on like the northern side, like above. So when Siobhan's like, come meet for while we were all in Seattle, and he started, like, he was coming, and I don't know when he left. It took him longer to get there than it would have if he was truly in Seattle. And then we went to Tacoma, and he was in Seattle, I guess. And so Siobhan was like, well, just come to Tacoma. You pop out, like, we'll pop into the Airbnb, we'll say hello and see what happens. And I'm like, okay, that's a little bit weird, but we're already like in for a penny, in for a pound.
That was still early in the evening. It was late afternoon, early evening. So I thought, well, if you do get here now, maybe we can go out to eat or something.
Yeah, that's fair too. It was probably like 6 or 7 at that point. So it wasn't crazy. Well, he still wasn't there, and it got to kind of like 8, 9 at night, and he showed up. And Siobhan's like, I'm going to go downstairs and meet the person. I'm like, hey, what? Because I thought we had abandoned this already. I thought we had moved on.
Well, to be fair, it was getting later in the evening, and he was messaging me like, he had a broken foot, but he's like, I'm driving, I'm almost there. I'm like, I don't think this is a good idea. I started telling him like, hey, dude, I don't think this is a good idea. Okay. Also, you have a broken foot. Like, why are you even driving? This doesn't sound like a good idea, and like, we're tired. We just want to go to bed, so I just really don't think you should come.
But he was already on his way, and he came.
He showed up anyway.
And Siobhan went down. So we're at an Airbnb. We're on the 3rd floor. And Siobhan went down to meet him and to talk to him. And he was not cool at all.
Crutches and all.
He had crutches. He was kind of awkward, which is a lot from me, who's also like kind of awkward. But like, he was not kind of a fun type of awkward.
He definitely wasn't what he seemed like.
Yeah, in real life, he had no riz. Do you like that? I use that.
Good job.
They've been teaching me, the 20-year-olds. But there was nothing about him that was, like, I'm sure he was lovely with his own people and his own family. But there was nothing about him in a meeting that was like, oh, we're connecting, we should hang out. And so...
He wasn't very convincing.
Yeah, so I am on the 2nd floor with Siobhan's brother, and we're looking for, like, maybe we want to watch a movie or something, so we're looking through the library. And we hear...
I felt awkward, so I just was like, hey, you want to come meet my friend?
Mm-hmm. So Siobhan brings this poor man up on crutches to the 2nd story. So up 2 flights of stairs. No, wait, a flight of stairs? Upstairs. This poor guy. And then we're all on the 2nd floor.
It was so awkward.
And it's so awkward. And he's trying to make something happen, and Siobhan clearly is like, no, and her brother is in like full brother mode, which is like, you're not doing anything with my sister. I'm like, Chandler, bro, you're not intimidating. You're not Batman. Like, just chill. So all of that's happening. It's like so awkward. And so I just say, verbatim, wow, this is really awkward. I think I'm going to go upstairs. But it was nice to meet you, whoever you are. And Siobhan says, that's a great idea. And just takes off up the stairs. And then, because like the stairs are here, Siobhan's right next to them. I'm still on the side of the library where I was looking at movies, so I couldn't make it clearly to the stairs before her. And then her brother is like, yeah, I think I'll go upstairs too, and goes upstairs. And so here I am with this poor man on crutches who's awkward, and we already have established that I'm awkward. I point out an awkward situation when I see it. Like, giggling. And so I'm like, well, I guess I'll walk you downstairs. I'm so sorry this didn't go the way you were anticipating.
He was pretty upset.
He was upset, but he was polite to me because what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I walked him downstairs and told him to have a nice night, and I never saw him again.
Me neither. Me neither.
And so I come back upstairs, and I'm like, what the heck is that? And she was like, well, it was fun, and then everything caught up.
Okay, so let me speak now.
Yeah, because you haven't been interrupting me the whole time.
I've just been laughing, okay, and clarifying where there needs to be clarification. Stop, you're scaring people.
Stop it, Patrick, you're scaring him.
I was going to say, I've gotten much better, okay? I don't think I would really do that now. I was younger. Yeah, I was younger, okay? I was going through a weird phase, and I didn't handle that as good as I should have. I was more immature then. Okay, let me just say I was more immature. I think that's a good example of like an immature ENFP action. I was like, this is fun. This guy's fun. We're talking. I'm sure he's great. Oh yeah, you want to come down here? I'm not good at keeping track of the time, right? I just think, oh, I don't know what time it is, but yeah, you can come over now. Sure, why not? It's fun. And it wasn't until like right before he gets there that I'm kind of like, hold on, wait, this might not be a good idea.
Yeah. Also, in Siobhan's defense,
thank you.
She did not know he had a broken foot until he arrived.
No! He just told me he was driving. I'm like, okay, and then he tells me he has a broken. I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
So, in her defense to random guy, I think that like maybe there are some areas that Siobhan could have demonstrated more maturity and more like foresight. But also, random guy was an equal participant in the. It's getting late. He has a broken foot. He's making his own decisions and his own choices.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that he had expectations about what was going to happen that you never had expectations for.
Oopsie.
Because who drives 2 hours to meet a random girl online without having some of those expectations?
And I wasn't thinking about that. I just like, oh, this guy's fun. Yeah, let's go hang out and have fun.
And like I said, the way he represented himself in the very, very beginning was he was in Seattle. We were in Seattle. We could meet up for coffee. It would be like, 15 minutes, our way, 15 minutes.
Thank you for the defense. But I think it is a funny story because it's just a good example of when I was a more immature ENFP. Mm-hmm. I don't know how mature I am now, but when I was a more immature ENFP, when this was happening, I think it's a good example of like just acting on my NE and being like, yeah, this is fun. This is going to be fun. I love meeting new people. Let's do this. And then the FI and the T catching up with me and being like, oh, actually, this is kind of awkward. Maybe I should have thought this through. Isn't it great? And then just the awkwardness of my brother and I being like, this is awkward. We don't like negative emotions. So again, immature ENFP at the time, I was just like, run away. I'll let the INTJ deal with this. And so we just ran away.
Yeah.
And looking back, that's awful. And now, as a mature ENFP, I would not do that to my friend.
Well, there are two things I'm going to say to that, too. One is, if it's not fun now, make it a fun story. And it wasn't fun then, but it's become a fun story.
Yes, it's good sentiment.
And
then, no one got hurt.
No one got hurt. And then the second thing I was going to say, which is a little bit more depth.
I might have hurt his feelings, but that's all that got hurt.
Feelings don't count. That's not true, guys.
You're scaring them.
This is a little bit more depth to it. Is like maybe that didn't showcase you in the light of being like a really great friend. But as I said to a group earlier this week, I'm a pretty mediocre friend too. And like there are things that I do, like I don't answer text messages really well, or like I'm less inclined to give the right emotional reaction. Like there are all sorts of things that I do that put me in like a mediocre friendship bubble. But the thing is like there's no overarching rule for these are all the behaviors you have to do and you have to tick all of these boxes to be a good friend. Like social theory contract is going to say there are certain things that we do appreciate. But with us, we have enough values that overlap in the way that we know each other and care for each other, that we're good friends to each other, even though we're mediocre friends. Well, I won't speak for you. She was once a mediocre friend. Maybe she's great to everyone now. But even though like I'm a mediocre friend, in general, if you were ticking all the friendship boxes, I'm a exceptionally good and faithful friend to Siobhan because I am there when she needs me. I do give the responses when she needs it. And if she tells me, hey, you need to text back more, I text back more. And that's not...
We need to work on that still.
That's not necessarily a need that she has that's like a deal breaker in a friendship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like her eating my Oreos isn't a deal breaker in my friendship. But for some people, those could be really important things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. I think I'm not as crazy now.
Okay.
Well, not that kind of crazy. I'm not as impulsive. I was, and to be fair, I really wasn't that impulsive as a person, but I had my moments like that.
Yeah. Your moments.
Oh, do you guys want to see my loofah hat? Do you like my loofah hat?
It's gorgeous.
You think so?
I think it's the most eclectic hat you own.
That is true. Yep. I own a lot of hats. Do you think we should do where I share my hat collection for everybody? My wig collection, my hat collection, my shoe collection, my clothes collection, my jewelry collection. I collect a lot of things. I'd love to show them all my little things. Do you collect things?
I don't, because collecting is kind of an SI thing. It's a hobby.
See, SI is my inferior function, so that makes sense. I like collecting things. Bye! Maybe we'll actually have a cat next time.
It's right there.
No, we already had that one. She had her chance.
Look, we don't have unlimited cats.
Next time we'll have another cat. Well, you better start looking. We gotta have a new cat for each ep. Meow, 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 meow. Okay, bye.
Oh, good Lord.